We are welcoming you to our short webinar, iPRODUCE, social manufacturing platform for co-creation ventures and also for the healthcare applications. So we are happy to...
Hello.
Hi. So please be muted now. Yeah. Okay. So we are happy to meet you online here and to present the iPRODUCE EU project here. My colleague Sabrina and I myself, we are one of the German partners of the project, and we are hosting this webinar today in the framework of the MEDICA Healthcare Brokerage Event. And Sabrina and I'm Simone, we are working for ZENIT, the Center for Innovation and Technology, which is based in Mülheim in North Rhine-Westphalia. And yeah, we are an agency occupying and assisting companies and universities in innovation activities and internationalization. I will show you the short agenda for our webinar. We start with a short presentation of the iPRODUCE project, presented by Bruna Cavallo, and then patient-centered orthopedic technologies by Dimitris Mustakas. And we have the product Forge service by Dr. Mark Jensch. And we will finalize our webinar with the outlook of iPRODUCE. And yeah, we are open also for questions. So if you have any question, you can put it in the chat and we will discuss it afterwards. So,
yeah.
Yes, so feel free to start, Bruna Cavallo from the Copenhagen Business School, with your presentation.
Yeah, sure. I'm just sharing my screen. Can you hear me well?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. 1 sec. Yeah. Okay. So hello everyone, and yeah, welcome to this short presentation on the iPRODUCE project. So iPRODUCE is a European funded project that is all about developing a social manufacturing framework for multi-stakeholder open innovation missions in the consumer goods sector. Before we delve into the specifics of the project, I would like to give you an overview of the context where iPRODUCE is inserted. So recently we've seen an increase in the number of maker spaces and people that are interested in creating products for themselves, which and customized products which are called prosumers. So consumers that produce their own goods, many startups being launched also to address specific needs in the market. And when we look at all of this movement and we read the literature that tries to explain this movement, we learn, and here we have a very nice word cloud that Isabel, who will be talking to you later, she developed. We have this, we can see that all of the people that participate in the movement, they are very much interested in innovation. They are interested in education, in acquiring the information and the training needed to then participate in the movement. They're interested in finding and participating in maker spaces where they find the infrastructure, the machinery, the materials that they need to then make their ideas come to life. And iPRODUCE is born in this context where we aim at creating an environment and an ecosystem for these startups, these small and medium enterprises, these makers and prosumers to then really create and co-create and find solutions to their everyday needs and their business needs. So with that in mind, what we have in iPRODUCE, our main objectives are to create a social manufacturing framework to support open innovation and co-creation activities and support everyone that is interested in these activities for the design and engineering and production of consumer goods. We aim at engaging local and regional stakeholders in Europe and maker communities and startups so they can implement and co-create and really lead these co-creation mission driven by consumer needs. And by doing that, we expect to increase the collaboration within these ecosystems in different industries and increase collaboration between manufacturing companies and makers in these open innovation projects. And to do that, we have two main vehicles, let's put it this way. We aim at creating a platform, an online platform where people can meet and have access to tools and the latest technology available. And we also are developing what we call collaborative manufacturing demonstration facilities, which are existing facilities that are the infrastructure through which these social manufacturing ecosystems will implement their activities and their ideas. We'll talk a little bit about these so-called CMDFs later in my presentation, but keep this in mind for now. But who are we really? Well, we are a total of 20 partners coming from 9 different European countries. Our partners come from different and diverse industry, a total of 9 industries. 7 of us are fab labs or maker spaces that compose the CMDFs that I just talked about together with other partners. And we are also formed by 4 research centers which help build these this whole platform and the framework, the iPRODUCE framework. And what's most interesting, in my opinion, about the iPRODUCE is that we have a very broad outreach because we come from different industries and different countries in the European Union. So we expect that more than 2 million SMEs will be able to profit from the platform and the facilities once we launch. More than 1 million startups, many fab labs will also be able to use all of the services and the products that will be a part of iPRODUCE from diverse industries. More than 872 industries we believe could be impacted positively by iPRODUCE, and so many other employees and universities and research centers. So we expect our impact to be very broad. But what do we really want to make available to the future users of iPRODUCE? A bunch of digital tools and facilities. So whoever gets in touch with iPRODUCE and becomes a user will have access, for example, to video intelligence tools, regenerative design, when co-creating and collaborating with other partners, we will make sure through the platform that these people will have contracts in place to ensure that their intellectual property rights are safe. There will be a marketplace where people can find products and services and identify potential our partners from the project that can help them with a specific expertise that they need and maybe necessary for the development of their products and services. They will have access to augmented reality and virtual reality technologies, a matchmaking tool where they can find partners for their projects, and then they can also find training to develop skills and capabilities that they are lacking right now, so they can actually use our tools, both digital and physical machinery. And there will also be a an app for mobile phones that can help engage new customers, so they can become an integral part and a partner of the iPRODUCE platform. And by doing all of this, we expect to have impact in 4 major areas, both specifically in the industry, but perhaps at society at large. And these major impact areas are by creating the open innovation framework, we expect to support manufacturers and makers and consumers in establishing their open innovation networks and then it would lead to the design and production and marketing of customer-driven consumer goods. Second is the new business models we are developing, which aim at supporting this collaborative production and their scalability and replicability, bringing the products and services closer to the market. We also aim at providing operational capacity and skills for more cost-effective and sustainable innovation. And last, because we have this user, or this we have this element of having the user at the center of design and production, we hope to ensure that the customer needs are better reflected in product design. And as promised, we're going back a little bit to the collaborative manufacturing demonstration facilities. We're currently developing them in 5 different countries in Europe. So in France, we have partners that are focused on mobility. In Spain, we have partners in the whole infrastructure that is focused on furniture manufacturing. And we have them also in Italy, Germany, and Greece. And today, my colleagues Dimitris and Mark, they will talk a little more about what they are developing in Greece and Germany. And I think my time is up. Yes, it is. So I'll give the word to Dimitris, who will explain a little bit about our Greek CMDF and the products that they are developing for the medical industry. And I will, yes, stop sharing now.
Thanks, Bruna, for your participation and your presentation.
Thank you.
So, Dimitris, now the floor is yours with your presentation, Patient-Centered Orthopedic Technologies.
Thank you very much. Greetings from the sunny Athens in Greece. I am Dimitris Moustakas. I'm an electrical engineer and co-founder and COO of AidPlex. AidPlex is a Greek medical startup based in both the US and in Thessaloniki, Greece. We have vision to deliver the best possible treatment experience to patients. We started our business in Thessaloniki in 2018, and we moved our company to the US in 2021. We have, as a medical startup, we're focusing a lot in the patents. We have submitted several patents, and we will continue innovating and submitting new ones. And of course, as a medical company, we have to be compliant with the ISO 13485 to sell our products in Greece, Europe, and then to the US. We have received that ISO, and in the next months, we will search the relevant ISO for the US market. We have received a lot of awards, both nationally and internationally. We were in an award from the EIT Health last year, and we have received plenty of awards. We are also in the list of Forbes 30 under 30. And we have received a lot of grants and an angel investment round in the US. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we will announce an VC round that will help us to commercialize our products, both in the US and the European market. Let's talk about iPRODUCE. iPRODUCE helped us a lot to find partners and customers, to co-design with them our products and bring to the market our MVPs to test them, and then to sold them for our viability. iPRODUCE covers a big problem in Greece. There are a lot of bright minds with bright ideas, and we don't have the necessary equipment or the necessary advisors to help us grow our ideas. So iPRODUCE is here to change that. AidPlex is part of the Greek CMDF, as Bruna told before. I'm trying to change. Okay.
If you do Apple L, you go full screen.
Thank you very much. The Greek CMDF consists of both AidPlex and CERT. CERT is a research center, and we have also made contacts with a lot of ambassadors of iPRODUCE and the first early adopters of our ideas, who all together we combine our know-how, our equipment, and our time, of course, to create wonderful products. Our first product is the splints for fractures. The problem is that if you break a hand or a leg, you have to wear most of the times a very heavy, very smelly, and definitely not waterproof cast or splint that makes the whole treatment experience very poor. So we have spoken with a lot of patients and doctors, of course, and created custom-made solutions. It comes flat. You have to heat it with a thermogun or hot water. Then it becomes moldable. You can wrap it around your hand, for example, and in 1 minute you have a perfect splint for your hand. I have to say that this is waterproof. You can bathe yourself properly. This cast also is biodegradable and recyclable. And with the interaction with the patient and the doctors, we came up to those designs for hand and leg. Of course, if something most of the times works for us, can find the perfect use for our pets. And I have to say that our splints is very effective with pets because the waterproof feature is very important. As you can imagine, dogs and cats some of the times can be on themselves, and this can dissolve their casts, or probably can this cast could be very smelly. So with that, with our splint, we don't have this problem, and we innovate in that field. And of course, I have to mention that priority of AidPlex and the Greek CMDF is to give the best possible treatment experience and boost the psychology of both of our families, patients, or pets patients. Our main product with AidPlex is the smart wearable device for scoliosis treatment. The problem is that this problem, a lot of children have scoliosis. It's a very tough age for them to wear in order to be treated, you have to wear this back brace. You have to wear it for at least 18 hours per day for 2 years or 3. And if you don't do that properly, it's a high chance of having a spinal surgery that's very risky for your health, and it's very costly for your family. And a lot of children, speaking with them and their families, didn't know the exact time of wearing the brace. Or the perfect way to fit the brace on them, because they go usually every 4 to 6 months to their doctors. And in that period of time, they can gain some weight, they can be taller, and their body can be changed. So we developed ScolioSense. ScolioSense is a medical device that can be retrofitted to any back brace in the market. And this could transform every back brace in the market to a smart one. In addition, we have developed some techniques in order to manufacture the back braces more efficiently, with spending less material, with 3D printing, and our back braces require less time to make adjustments, because the pathway right now is that you have to take the measures from the patient, you have to scan them, and then make a mold, take a big plastic sheet, warm it, heat it, and wrap it around the mold. And then you have to trim and cut a lot of parts of that plastic sheet. And this procedure requires a lot of time with the patient. We want to eliminate that. And how our system works. Every patient have an iPad, a tablet, or a mobile app with gamified elements. Alongside doctors, we developed a very friendly mobile app that motivates, boosts their psychology, and most importantly, educate them in order to understand their disease and how to treat it. And of course, doctors can see patient status on their web app, and can call them anytime in order to make some modifications or arrange a new appointment in order to avoid missing time. Face shields for COVID-19. I'm very, very happy and thankful for that initiative. In the first 2 months of COVID outbreak, AidPlex led the way to create, develop, and shipped more than 70,000 face shields all over Greece, and cover the needs because that time our borders were closed and we couldn't import protective equipment to our country. So that was very important for us and for our clinicians to keep them protected. Of course, giving so many face shields make the president of our country to give us an award. And that period we saw a small problem. We had a lot of children in the refugee camps or in children's hospital. And of course, those face shields were made for adults. We have bigger heads, and we are not paying attention to keep our patients motivated. So we decided to make smaller ones, of course, face shields with gamified elements. We can play with colors or with some shapes on them in order to make more easy for the parents to persuade their children to wear the face shields in the refugee camps or in children hospitals. We have also other two use cases in the Greek CMDF about luminous artifact and bioscaffolds. These use cases are led by the CERT, the research center, and it's mostly based on training how to design and print them. Of course, it's very useful to have a lot of medical use cases in our Greek CMDF, and of course the training sessions in order to help also our company to learn how to train our customers in the following months. Of course, I'm not alone. We have a very strong team of 5 very fully committed engineers. Harry and I founded the company, and then we found Argyris, Tassos, and Adonis to help us commercialize and develop and commercialize our products. I hope in the next 2 months we will do some hirings, and I want to see more diversity in our team. And of course, because we are pretty young, we have alongside us 3 very experienced business consultants based in the US and the UK. They're also our angel investors, and we have in our team 2 professors in orthopedics that help us every day to make our devices more patient-centered. Thank you very much. This is my contacts. Please send me an email and we can arrange the Zoom call, or I'm happy to answer your questions right now.
Thank you, Dimitris. Thanks a lot for your presentation about the products and solutions in the medical sector. So do we have any questions? So in the chat, we don't have any, but please feel free to answer questions also afterwards, and we can send you the emails, and we are happy to hear anything from you. Thanks a lot. So the next presentation will be presented by Mark Jentsch about product forge service. Mark is working at the Fraunhofer Institute for Applied Information Technology. The floor is yours, Mark.
Thank you. Yeah, so Dimitris has shown us one tangible product that's been produced within iPRODUCE, but we are also doing intangible things, services, and I will present you now one of these services, which we called Product Forge Service. So what we are addressing, what we're aiming at, is that we identified that processes for generating innovations often are not very well defined. They are more or less happening at the moment on a random base in many companies. So that means some inventor is basically locked up in a dark room and then working for himself and not really interacting with other people. And maybe if they have a brilliant moment, then some innovation is produced, and that might be then thrown on the market, and you want to test if that really works out commercial wise. So this innovation process is not really very goal oriented. It's not very structured. It's also, it might be not efficient longer than actually needed. and it's not human-centered, we call it. So it's not really considering the needs of potential customers, users. And we want to help companies to innovate in a better and a more structured way, maybe in less time, and also make sure at the same time that product development is more focused on better considering human needs. And for that, we want to exploit the strength of some of the iPRODUCE partners. So that was the general idea, because in general, the idea of the project was to see, okay, how can the expertises and the strength of especially makerspaces be better exploited commercial wise. And this is actually the approach that we took here, having a look, okay, what is there as assets in makerspaces and around makerspaces, what challenges are out there, and how can we match them to one another. So the three partners that we have in the German local ecosystem are, on the one hand, my own employer, Fraunhofer FIT. Fraunhofer FIT is a research institute for applied information technology, and we have the so-called Design Thinking Factory initiative at our place. And there we are dealing with basically all the methods around, the human-centered methods around development processes. That means we are supporting from a methodological point of view innovation processes. We start seeing, okay, how can we empathize? How can we get knowledge about the people for which we want to develop a product? Then we try to structure those informations, help in generating ideas, do low-level prototypes, and also evaluate. And we do that in many iterations and support our customers in going through this process. We do this as in terms of coaching, but we also provide trainings for this. Then we have the makerspace in Bonn, an open makerspace where people can come to who want to develop every kind of things. And this makerspace has actually two assets. They have, on the one hand, lots of different machinery that you might not have at home, such as 3D printers or laser cutters or many things you can think of. And on the other hand, they also have the know-how how to handle these machines and how to do prototyping. So also, if you have some idea in mind, you could go there and they could tell you, okay, maybe you try out this method of actually doing the prototype. And as a third partner, we have a company called Rosbach-Boythun. They are commercially assembling components for their customers. They do it on a manual basis, as you can see here on the picture, but it's very well structured. So they have really every single step, every turn, and every tool that they use is really well thought through, so that they do this assembly in a way as efficient as possible. So by doing this, they have gained lots of experience of what you need to do for bringing your product to the market as a first step to not mass production, but serious production. And at some point you would be able, maybe if you go for a larger scale, to automate things. But this is basically the first step that you probably need if you want to develop a physical product to produce this in a serious production. So, and now we have these three partners, and we have the problem of, or the challenge of, how can innovation work in a more efficient way? And we thought that our approach would be a 3-day workshop series where you, as a customer, could go to each of the partners in one day. And you would start with the first day at Fraunhofer FIT. If you have a rather rough idea, we would help you, first of all, challenge this idea and work out the details and shape a bit where the idea needs to become maybe more tailored to your customer needs, or where maybe some aspects of the idea need to be changed. At the second day, you could go to the Makerspace 1 and create a first prototype, or different prototypes. Basically, you would do this in an iterative way. So you would go to the Makerspace with the worked out, with a refined idea from the first day, and at the end of the second day, you would probably have one first prototype, one tangible thing that shapes your idea, gives your idea a physical shape, and that also helps you gain some experience around this idea. And then you could go on the third day to Rosbach-Voitun and basically discuss a roadmap, what needs to be done to come from this prototyping state to serious production. That doesn't only involve questions around how to make, how to produce things, but also what else, what you need to think of during this process. So legal things, topics about procurement, anything that's needed there. We have done some first runs of this product forge service with some customers within iPRODUCE. One workshop was with an inventor who had a lot of different ideas in mind. So it was really from a kid's toy to a mobile device for improving toilet paper, so on a really different level. And what we did there was going there with a fit workshop and structuring these ideas, also prioritizing them, so that it became a bit clearer in his mind also where he was actually going to go with these ideas and what he actually wanted to do there. And also here you see him discussing with some people from the Makerspace Bonn how some, I think we discussed 2 of the highest priority ideas, how these could be put into practice and how a prototype could be created. So these were actually also the results. I listed it here. That we put structure in the bunch of ideas. We put an order there, and also we had at the end of the workshop series a list of potential techniques how these ideas could be put into practice. Another example was a company who already had a first prototype. They are planning on creating a device that allows you to measure micro leakages in your water pipes in your home. And the idea is you would detect those micro leakages early enough before they can do any harm to your house, so that you can intervene there. And as I said, they already had a first prototype ready, and they were interested in details about the case of this device. So they skipped actually the first day because their idea was already shaped enough. They went directly to the Makerspace Bonn and tried out different versions of this case, of the device, the case and how the device and the case interact with each other. And also they explored different production machineries to have a better idea at the end how this case could be produced and how the actual details of the design could be. And the third example we had was another startup with the first idea for a product. They already also had the prototype for this product ready, but they were looking for a diversity in their product. So they wanted to have a second product that aimed at the same problem space, but that would be more lightweight. And here we went there only for the first day. So we explored this problem with them, analyzed the users' everyday work process to get a better understanding what would be the actual needs of the users. And based on this, we created then a list of new product ideas. And this is what they took away from the workshop and are now thinking about, okay, how could this be put into practice? And actually, now this is an example where we only conducted the first day of the series. Here we only conducted the second day. So it's also possible, it's highly flexible. It's meant to be highly flexible. You could either go for all 3 days, or you would just pick the days that are most relevant for you in your particular situation. So this is more to be meant as a framework. And so we go there with our customers, look, before we start, we look at their specific problem and their specific solution, and then we design the actual days and the whole workshop series very tailored to this specific solution of the customers. Yes, that was it from my side. I'm also happy if I could answer any questions.
Thanks, Mark, for having presented your service, your promoting and offering, and the examples you have shown. Yes, feel free to ask questions. We have one question for Dimitris. You have already seen it. So the question is, are you collecting data from the sensor? How are you warehousing it? So maybe you would like to answer it right now.
Yeah, of course. Our device, as I said, can be placed outside the back brace, and the sensors can be inside, and we're collecting data from the patient's body pressure. We have two databases as GDPR forces us to do, and I think it's great. All of our data is anonymized, and of course, the crucial part is that the data is from a child, so they have to sign some papers in order to let us store their data, and of course let the doctor see their data in order to help them. I hope that I covered your question. If you want, you can send me an email to arrange a call and tell you more about our invention.
Okay, thanks, Dimitris. at the moment we don't have any further questions, so then I give the floor to Isabel from Copenhagen Business School with an outlook of iPRODUCE.
Thank you. Thanks, Simon. Thank you, Dimitri, and thank Mark and Bruna for your presentations. First of all, yes, so just as given an overall about the project, as you could see, I mean, in these two cases, even though there are distinct products, one can say that this that the gamma that they reach is actually similar in the sense that these are like facilitating the co-creation among like people who might have an idea and might not have the means to execute it on their own, but through this network, they can bring things to life. One thing that is very important to talk about is because also in the fact of societies in general, like in the current society, like we've had a huge growth actually in the number of fab labs and maker spaces, but they kind of like failed, they didn't fail, but like society, I would say, failed to really embrace these spaces, looking at them on a more like market-oriented opportunities. And that's what that's what's based on this gap that this project kind of emerged. It's like, how can we make these spaces kind of places which work with the industry, work with different networks, and become something that is sustainable and also in a key mesh in the process towards local innovation. Another aspect that's also interesting to talk about when talking about this again, when the project comes in and now where we're living, is the fact that obviously user-led movements we had many platforms for people like prosumers to bring their ideas to life. So, I mean, obviously we had Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and a huge number of others that provided that. But in order even to bring the product into that state, into those platforms, they had to develop prototypes. They have to develop something that was sellable, that represented a value, and a value that people wanted to pay, to collaborate, to make this into a larger production. So even for those groups, this not only the platform, but this process of this correlation, both products here, both product forged, definitely can see that this asset to developing these prototypes, to develop this kind of high-end prototypes, and to do some elaboration on the idea, on the process. And in the case of AidPlex and of our Greek CMDF, I think it's also very important to highlight the value that really huge untapped value that exists for the medical sector and additive manufacturing. Not only additive manufacturing, but definitely additive manufacturing as one of them. Because as Dimitri presented, I mean, having casts, as we know, as he said, there are so many problems with the casts, including the fact that they cannot take a shower. We all have been there, or the plastic bags around like the arm or whatever, the foot I mean, this is something that's completely different. When we were talking exactly about the back braces, I mean, something that like people are actually growing this process because they are also young. You also need something that it would be cheap enough to be produced. So this doesn't represent such a high cost for the families as well. On top of that, there are so many opportunities within training as well for the medical sector. This is something that again is still yet to be further developed. And we're seeing a few cases here and there, even in some of the other maker spaces and some of the other CMDFs that we have in iPRODUCE, that are starting to look at these opportunities. Because again, in terms of digital manufacturing, you have such a high resolution now that you can really create valuable products for the different markets. And in terms of the medical market, it's very interesting because there are so many different needs in it. Right. I mean, we all know about the advances in kind of organ production and so on, and kind of this attempt to make different meshes of different materials and so on, which is obviously very, very high end. But if you look all the steps before that, all represent like a huge opportunity for the digital manufacturing market. Both, again, as I said, in terms of training, so actually printing different types of organs for students, for them to train, for them to understand, for putting this together, for operations, so trying out operations in dummy organs before the actual operation in order to reduce time, in order to understand. And again, as the technology is already here, this is something that can be definitely further developed. So with the platform, I mean, with the launch of the platform, as the project ends, we should say that this project is reaching its last year. We're going to wrap up the whole project by June next year, and the platform that is one of the outcomes of this project, really hopes to facilitate these exchanges, in the different groups and in the different locations. Also because you can create databases of products that can be used across borders. So we also understand that from a business perspective, the fact that the supply chains, and suppliers in general, that can be, as we are living right now, this can be challenging due to outside variables and uncontrollable variables, as we saw in the case of Corona, that Dimitri mentioned exactly about the masks. I mean, what happened there happened in Spain, happened in Italy, happened in many different places, because as they could not wait, or things could not enter because the borders were closed, then you could create these opportunities inside this location. So the idea of local production, of bringing back local production, and you also have a better control of the actual product. I mean, the materials that compose the product, and these are all like we call it like really like a way towards these emerging markets, and that we definitely see that we'll have like a bigger growth in the years to come. So that's kind of where we close kind of this product. I think it's important to say as well that in the process we learned a lot, like exactly not only about the opportunities, but also the capabilities and the possibilities that are in this, and how can we then further develop them, which we hope it will continue even beyond the project timeline.
Thank you, Isabel. So, as we can see, we have no further questions right now, but as we already said, feel free to send us any questions also afterwards. We will also share the slides of the presentations if everyone agrees. And yeah, we will do it afterwards. And yeah, I don't see any further questions, so it's already 4 o'clock almost. So I thank you, or we thank you, all of you, for your participation and for the presentations. And yeah, we wish you a good day. And for the participants of the MEDICA, have good meetings.